Paulo Costa versus Luke Rockhold. It's meme on meme in the UFC Octagon. 20th of August. Big matchup. Paulo Costa's been looking for a matchup for a very long time. He was looking to fill in place of Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori at UFC 275 in Singapore. However, of course, they just fought each other. I don't think Marvin Vettori's going to be trusting Paulo Costa to take that fight again after what he had to go through the first time in the build-up. But Paulo Costa is fighting Luke Rockhold. He's also fighting at middleweight, which I really like the sound of, or at least I assume he's now fighting at middleweight because that's where Luke Rockhold wanted to return to. This is an amazing matchup. I just really hope, before I even get into who I believe is going to win, and the matchup itself and what it means for Paulo Costa to be back at middleweight, press conference. Please. August 20th. Does not yet have a venue. Tapology has not even updated itself yet to let us know if it's a pay-per-view or if it's a fight night card. However, I do believe if it was a main event, they would announce it as a main event, as they usually do. Whenever there's going to be a main event, they say Rockhold versus Paulo Costa to main event a fight card on August 20th. And because it's not a main event, and it's not scheduled for 5 rounds, or at least we haven't been told that information, I do assume, based on the timing of it, it's likely going to be the pay-per-view card in August, and that is amazing, because that might be Conor McGregor's return card against, who knows, the winner of Chandler versus Ferguson, maybe, and that would be a really fun time to have Paulo Costa and Luke Rockhold at a press conference with Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson. That would be even crazier. I do believe Michael Chandler's going to beat Tony Ferguson, but if Tony Ferguson somehow got the win, that might be the greatest press conference of all time. Maybe we could get Colby Covington there. Maybe we could get some other big names at the press conference as well that could add to it. Maybe a Bryce Mitchell personality chucked in somewhere as well against another featherweight prospect. I'm really looking forward to this matchup, though, between Rockhold and Paulo Costa. I think Paulo Costa's going to win, though. I think he's going to win pretty brutally as well. If I don't trust your chin, why would I trust it more after a long time off? And after a big weight cut as well. I'm not saying that... Listen, Luke Rockhold gets a lot of shtick for his chin because Bisping KO'd him with one punch pretty much. And Michael Bisping doesn't really hit that hard. And I know a lot of people are going to say, how can you say that? He's a pro fighter. But let's be real. Bisping's never been known for punch power, and he put away Luke Rockhold. However, it was a perfect punch. Then a follow-up shot afterwards. Yoel Romero, Jan Blachowicz, TRT Vitor Belfort. These are the guys that have KO'd Luke Rockhold. And I don't think he's got a glass chin. However, I don't think he's got nearly the level of chin that Paulo Costa does. So I do believe he's going to have a bit of a chin disadvantage here in terms of density levels of that chin. And after a long time off, Jan Blachowicz shattered his jaw in his last contest. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a KO loss where, oh, he's going to be easier to KO next time. He got his jaw shattered. You know what I'm saying? Like, dislocated jaw against Jan Blachowicz. Yoel Romero really badly KO'd him as well. And now, after a very long time off, you're going to jump back in there with Paulo Costa. If Paulo Costa is disciplined and makes a good weight cut down to middleweight, he's got a really nasty left hook. And I can see that left hook landing against Luke Rockhold. I mean, if he can put down Yoel Romero with a left hook, I do believe he'll put down Luke Rockhold with it as well, because it's a big weakness in his game. Yoel Romero caught him with a left overhand. Jan Blachowicz caught him with a left hook. Michael Bisping caught him with a left hook. Vitor Belfort, even with the wheel kick. And I don't know, it was a wheel kick, but I'm trying to think what side it was on. I think it was on his right side, if I remember correctly. No, it was on his left side, but that would have been a right side shot from Vitor Belfort regardless. But you know what I mean. In terms of punches that put away Luke Rockhold or hurt him, seems to be from that left side. And Paulo Costa's got a really nasty check hook, really nasty lead hook in general. And I think that Rockhold's not going to be able to take him down and out-grapple him here. I don't believe he's going to be able to. Paulo Costa's got a really underrated ground game and grappling game. Yoel Romero would take him down. And I know Yoel Romero isn't really the best guy at controlling people on the ground, but still, he's a very notable grappler. And many people have tried to take down Paulo Costa, and he just gets back up. He's really good at that. You know what I mean? It's one of the more impressive parts of his game. Sure, he's got good body kicks, and sure, he throws good combinations on the feet, and he throws with crazy power and technique, and everything looks really good whenever he's in a fight against someone who's not just going to sit on the outside and just leg kick him towards a win until he can't walk and then beat him up afterwards like Israel Adesanya. It takes that level of fine tuning of a striker to be able to just sort of move away from Paulo Costa and make him look foolish in that way. I don't think Luke Rockhold is that level that Israel Adesanya is, and I don't think he's going to be at that level after many years off either. I think he's going to go out there, do what Rockhold normally does, blast kicks into forearms. You know, he's already got that injury on his leg. Every single time I see him posting stuff about kicking things, he has one leg that he can kick off of and then another one where he has a massive cast over his leg and he's like blasting it into stuff. Like or he's got the pads on his leg, even for kicking pads. I've seen a lot of like footage of him on Instagram and stuff. That leg where he had that sort of bone cartilage removed from his shin, that left leg of his, he has a really nice left kick in general. But even on the pads, like, he's got the shin guards on. You know what I mean? He's got a shin guard on that one leg as he's blasting kicks into the pad. And all of the comments are saying stuff like, wow, amazing kicks, really good power. And I'm thinking, like, should you have the pads on at this stage? You know, most fighters are looking to condition their shins, get used to that feeling of just smashing shin, even into a pad, let alone a bone of someone else's body. And he's got that pad on the left leg so he can even kick a pad without worrying about injury. I think he's going to go out there, have a couple of good front kicks to the body, blast some good kicks into the arms of Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa's going to be kicking him back. Both guys are going to be kicking back and forth. Then Luke Rockhold's going to try and out-muscle him against a cage and push him against a cage and try and take him down a couple of times, but fail maybe because I don't think he's going to have too good of a timing on the takedown and stuff like that. Because let's not forget, I know Luke Rockhold has had some good grappling moments in his career, and Brendan Schaub is like obsessed with the top game of Luke Rockhold. Like, and Joe, oh my God, if you let that guy get on top of you, it's problems. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to be able to do that to a guy like Paulo Costa, a big, strong guy for the division, who's just a tank of a man in those positions in close. I don't think he's just going to be able to out-muscle him and take him down. Like, he wasn't really able to do it against David Branch. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really able to do it against Weidman until he threw that fucking wheel kick that was so disgraceful to the art of the sport, and then he took him down after that. In fact, Rockhold looked like he was starting to slow down before he got that takedown on Weidman when he threw that wheel kick. So, Rockhold don't really take too many people down in hindsight. Jan Blachowicz stuffed all of them. And Jan Blachowicz got exposed by Glover. And Glover's a good name, but he's also 40-something years of age and not an athletic specimen in the way that Luke Rockhold is. So that's not a good sign to see. Luke Rockhold failing to take down Jan Blachowicz for a very long time. A guy who arguably had a weakness in his game waiting to be exposed. Not taking down Paulo Costa. You're not destroying him on the ground. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu as well. Hang on. Hang on. We're good. Hang on. Oh, what is that in my tooth, man? Jesus Christ. I think it was a bit of broccoli. Either way, we're back on the video at hand here. He's not going to take down Paulo Costa. He's not going to dominate him on the ground. So he's going to blast kicks back and forth at range. And I think eventually Paulo Costa will just catch him with a check hook. Plus, it's a 3-rounder, which means Paulo Costa's going to get the all clear to go buck wild on him and not really worry about cardio going into later rounds and try and play that patient approach. He showed improved cardio against Marvin Vettori. Was that because it was up a weight class, he didn't really have to make too much of a weight cut and it was better for him? Maybe. But I think Paulo Costa's still improving. That's what I saw in that Marvin Vettori bout at least. I know maybe you can say, he didn't have the weight cut and that's just how good he looks when he doesn't have to drain himself down to 185 pounds. In terms of just the technique of some of the stuff he was throwing, like the head kicks, the body kicks, the inside leg kicks, Paulo Costa did a really good job against Marvin Vettori in that fight and actually had a really good 5th round against Marvin Vettori as well. I think he's going to go out there and beat Luke Rockhold. I'm looking forward to the press conference. I think it's going to be a very entertaining build-up. But this ain't a good matchup for Rockhold. I think Marvin Vettori and Paulo Costa were sort of bad matchups. I like the Adesanya matchup for Rockhold more than this. Rockhold's a big guy. Whittaker, in hindsight, is not really a big middleweight. He was able to get down Israel Adesanya in some moments. Rockhold could maybe push him up against a cage, do a little bit of an outside trip on him, get him down, you know, just be a big man against him, like a tall 6'2" or 6'3" Luke Rockhold on top of Israel Adesanya. But I don't trust Rockhold to get this one done. I don't think he's going to have success in the grappling. And after a long time off, I think we're going to see like a late first round or second round left hook KO from Paulo Costa. Maybe they start kicking back and forth. Rockhold has no success with the kicks. Paulo Costa starts out kicking him. Costa starts to land some decent shots. Then Luke Rockhold tries to sort of get things done with his hands. And when he does, right hand's going to be too low, not protecting his chin whatsoever. And Paulo Costa's going to put him away with a left hook. That's what I'm going to call happening. And it's going to be a good matchup, though. Good for Paulo Costa, you know. It's a really big matchup. After this one, he can start moving on to some other matchups in the middleweight division. I have no idea what this means for Marvin Vettori, because I was thinking maybe like Rockhold could be the guy that jumps in. But now we have to wait till August for this one. And Vettori's fighting in June. So who's going to fight Vettori? Nassourdine Imavov? He was injured and pulled out of his last fight. Andre Muniz, like, Vettori's actually left in a pretty difficult position, because he said, I'll fight anyone, probably hoping that it would be Darren Till, Luke Rockhold, one of these other top middleweight names that he'd still get a lot of, like, benefit to his career from fighting. And now he's going to have to look down to this, like, new generation of middleweights coming up. So it's going to be a tough one for Marvin Vettori. I assume he's probably going to take on Nassourdine Imavov. I think Nassourdine Imavov actually did call him out, but Vettori was like, nah, because I kind of meant the big names at middleweight. But now there's no big names at middleweight, like no Hermanson, no Darren Till. They're fighting each other at UFC London. Yeah, I imagine Marvin Vettori's going to be looking at Imavov, which I think he'll probably win a fight against. But if I was Vettori, I'd want a 5-rounder against Imavov, because Imavov's sort of like green. He's new to the game. You know what I mean? You'd like to test him in a 5-rounder in a big main event rather than a 3-rounder on the main card of a pay-per-view. Something he's more used to. But either way, good matchup. Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold. Really looking forward to the build-up of this one. The memes are going to be undeniable. I just want a big press conference. I'm sick of these press conferences that we're doing in the UFC lately, where there's all like big names on the card, but then they take the two biggest names and do them separately. That's what, like, they did this for Woodley versus Covington. I wanted Woodley Covington with Chimaev in there as well, butting in. And some other names on the card, on that card, wherever it was, jumping in and talking in the middle of stuff. Like, I don't like it when they take the two big names and then just sort of separate them from the rest of the card. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to do like a McGregor versus somebody press conference, then a rest of the card press conference. But I want McGregor. If Ferguson somehow wins, which I honestly kind of prefer happening, even though I think Chandler will beat him, McGregor, Ferguson, Colby Covington, Hamzat Chimaev, co-main event maybe, but that'll be on ABC, so maybe not that one, but still Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold at the press conference, Bryce Mitchell, Ilya Topuria at the press conference. That's what I want on these cards. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Paulo Costa, left hook. And also, he's fighting at middleweight again, so I guess the UFC gave in to his demands. Paulo Costa to Giga Chad reigns supreme again. Stubborn as he is, it seems to work out for him. So he's fighting at middleweight again, which I'm happy for, because middleweight needs a bit of Paulo Costa in its rankings. You know what I mean? You don't want to just take a guy out of the rankings who wants to fight there and is willing to keep fighting there, because then everyone else just sort of bumps up inorganically and it kind of ruins the quality of the division whenever that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.